Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are in Urqopacha in the Pelopello village here for another quest chain. A crisis of corruption. Hey, I recognize you. You're Desiree, yes? I've heard about you. Companion to the Third Promise, a most dependable individual. The name's Nopli, and I'll have you know that I'm a merchant blessed by fortune, if I do say so myself. Indeed, I believe our meeting today is no chance encounter, but the hands of fate guiding us for a singular purpose, the exchange of invaluable items at an unbelievable price. If I could direct your attention over here for just a moment? Feast your eyes on these crates of exceedingly rare and precious corrupted crystals. Beautiful, aren't they? They were extracted from remote regions of Eorzea and shine a brilliant orange hue, quite unlike your run-of-the-mill crystals, no? For you, I'm willing to offer them for the low price of 1 pel, in the millions column. It's no highway robbery at this valuation, but anything for a friend of a Third Promise? Sorry, I clearly misheard you. It almost sounded like you said 1 million. What do you mean? Considering how much it set me back to purchase them, the price I'm offering should be perfectly reasonable. Strange, these are precious crystals, are they not? Not nearly. Just to be certain, these crystals are considered priceless treasures in Eorzea, right? Not really, they're pretty much everywhere. Let me see if I get this right. Not only are corrupted crystals commonplace across the Salt, but they're also highly volatile? But in the past, you once used such crystals together with an elemental converter to battle with powerful entities you call primals. Yeah. What's more, you kept them in a warded container at all times to protect against their deleterious effects. All of which is to say, no practical use for such crystals has been discovered, meaning no one with sense would ever bother to mine them. The peddler who sold the crystals to me never mentioned a word of this. He claimed they're extremely rare in Eorzea, which is why I decided to purchase them in the first place, even at the exorbitant price he offered. Naturally, I believed him, having never seen crystals of their like. Could you blame me? But if they really have no use? Have I, Nopli the Lucky, been swindled? Well, at the very least I was able to learn about the crystal's true nature before selling them to some poor soul. Fortune hasn't abandoned me completely yet. At any rate, I'd like to verify whether these crystals truly hold no value. Would you be willing to help me look into this, Desiree? I need someone I can trust, and that you'd be willing to share the truth with me says a lot. No need to answer right away. Give it some thought. If you have no interest, you're free to be on your way. If you decide to assist me, however, I'll be here waiting. Alright, let's help Nopli. You're willing to help then? Wonderful. You truly are a kind-hearted soul. Now, before I go and confront the merchant who sold me these crystals, I'd like to look into potential uses for them in Tural. For instance, crystals are in high demand among Turali mages, who make excessive use of them in their rituals. I just so happen to know a spellcaster among the distillery's guard. I'd like to speak with them about the corrupted crystals and gauge their interest in purchasing them. Many times I will see about procuring a container to ward off a crystal's harmful effects. Per your explanation, preparing an elemental converter with my skills is likely impossible, but finding requisite materials for a warding vessel should be well within my abilities. The mage you're looking for is an individual of a Bunawa tribe. If you happen upon someone wielding a staff, chances are you found them. Search sword wielding count? Bow wielding? stave-bearing god. Intriguing. I never heard of these corrupted crystals. As a practitioner of the arcane art, I will not deny they piqued my curiosity. But I am afraid I have no interest in purchasing them. If they are as volatile as you say, there is little to be done with crystals whose very nature can change on a whim. So even the mage was not interested. Nevertheless, I thank you for speaking with him on my behalf. It seems you are right. These crystals really are worthless. I may be unable to make back what I've lost, but there's still one thing I can do. Desiree, I wish to stop that pernicious peddler from continuing his crooked ways. Will you help me? What a relief. Allow me to offer you a small token of my thanks. When you have a moment to spare, please come see me again. We must stop him before he has a chance to swindle anyone else. Every moment we leave that peddler to his own devices is another opportunity for some unsuspecting traveler to be hoodwinked. We need to figure out where he's been and where he may go next. I'll ask around the Watching Pedal if anyone else has had a similar one with disreputable merchants. In the meantime, I'd like you to find the scoundrel and keep him in your sights by whatever means necessary. We can't have him leaving before we had a chance to settle this matter after all. I expect he's still in Urqopacha, visiting the markets to use his ill-gotten pellet to stock up for his return to Eorzea. Like as not, he's inspecting the stalls at the XIV Inn. Ask after a Lalafell by the name of Gigimolu, but be discreet. Once you found him, try to keep him occupied for as long as you can. Okay. Ah, well, this is a pleasant surprise. To think we would meet again here, of all places. You do recognize me, don't you? The merchant you spoke with on the ship to Yolal. I neglected to impart my name to you at the time, but I shall happily rectify that now. Gigimolu, at your service. Since my arrival on the continent, I must say business has been booming. I spare you the details of my most recent transaction, but suffice it to say, I earned quite a handsome sum from a most generous young merchant. Truly makes the lengthy voyage here feel well worth the trouble. All that remains before I return to Eorzea is to purchase some commodities. Alas, ever since I felt the soothing waters of Panakpelu's retreat on my skin, I can't think of little else. The mere mention of it has stirred my yearning to avail myself of those hot springs once more. It was a pleasure to meet you again, my friend, but I must be going. Farewell. Oh, it's you again. Did you follow me, huh? Perhaps you too have succumbed to the allure of these hot springs? The waters with perfect temperature and the view. Ravishing. All my worries seem to just melt away, though I suppose I've also Kavli to thank for that. He's been the perfect attendant, taking care of my every need. Look, I'm surprised you're still listening to me ramble on. If I didn't know better, I'd think you came not to enjoy these springs, but to speak with me. Gigimolu is growing suspicious of you. Perhaps it would be best to speak with Kavli instead. Gigimo truly did such an awful thing, I had no idea! He only recently began to visit these springs and hired me to take care of odds and ends for him during his sojourns. I took him into a quite the affluent individual the way he carries himself. My heart goes out for poor Nobly, but as a Pelu, I'm quite intrigued by Gigimolo's trading practices. What do you mean? Allow me to explain. Many years ago, the Pelu were looked down upon by the other peoples of Dural, both figuratively and literally due to our diminutive stature. Chagrined, it was said that our ancestors decided to start wearing masks made in the image of the most powerful Dural Vidral, Maligamanda, in order to strike fear into the hearts of all who looked upon them. Today, however, the meaning of a mask has changed. After becoming peddlers at the Dawn Servant's suggestion, the masks have become to symbolize fair transactions. Indeed, they are now proof of our reputability. Instead of focusing solely on our own profit, we endeavor to make every trade mutually satisfactory. Countless years of doing so has earned us the respect of those around us, and we now very rarely experience any belittlement. Okay. Yet it seems Gigimolo wishes only to fill his own coffers, even at the expense of those with whom he does business. It's a shame. After what he's done, no Turali will wish to barter with him again, no matter what quality of import he has at hand. I will keep a close watch on him from now on. I don't want to see anyone else swindled out of their hard-earned pal. Though, given his present euphoria, I doubt he'll be doing anything of the sort anytime soon. That said, I'm sure Nobly must be anxious to hear from you. I have matters here well in hand. Why don't you return to him? What? You met Gigimolo during your voyage to Tural? What a small world. In any case, thank you for lending your assistance once again, Desiree. It's reassuring to know Kavli will be keeping careful watch of him. As for my investigation here, it seems I'm presently Gigimolo's only victim. But I fear I won't be the last. There's no telling what underhanded tricks he'll use to procure those wares you spoke of. I refuse to let him besmirch all that it means to be a merchant. I have a plan, but I'm going to need your help. Finding bait. I'd like your opinion on something, Desiree. Should word spread of Gigimolo's underhanded practices, it won't be long before there's not a soul in all of Tural willing to deal with him. How do you feel about that? Not sure. It's quite a conundrum, isn't it? But from my perspective, such a conclusion would be troubling. After all, we'd lose one of the few merchants willing to voyage across the seas to do business with us. If he is to remain a potential trading partner in the years to come, he needs to be made to see the error of his ways. I suspect a few words of warning will do little, however. He needs to be taught a proper lesson, to feel the sting of being swindled for himself, and we shall make sure that he does, the Pelu way. First, you need an alluring piece of merchandise to serve as bait. Hailing from across the salt yourself, I can think of none better suited to finding something that might garner his interest. Have a look about and see what local specialties you have to offer. I should like to know if anything catches your eye. Something rare. I can think of nothing better than coffee plants. But surely fetch a handsome price, seeing as you most likely can't find them where you're from. Oh, so you can find them there. Well, in that case, I'd like to try your coffee for myself. A local specialty that's on the rarer side. How about the popotos being sold at the distillery? It's one of a few vegetables that can be cultivated in these altitudes. Long imported. Oh, you already have popotos aplenty in yours. Well, I'll be. If they're popular across the salt as well, I couldn't be prouder. If it's for the merchant, they might be interested in our traditional dolls. They're believed to be good luck for business. I carry one around myself, as it so happens. Whether or not someone unawares of its origin and significance would truly appreciate it is another question entirely. If you're looking for something out of the ordinary, I'd have to recommend an Oolong bristle hairbrush. They're good to keep the alpacas free of fleas, and they help prevent skin conditions among other things. And while you'd expect them to turn and spit on anyone tugging on their hair, the alpacas seem to enjoy the grooming. It's a simple way to help keep them healthy and happy. People can use the brushes too, obviously. The Oolong bristles help distribute natural scalp oils and strip the hair of leftover dead strands to promote a healthy scalp. It's surprisingly gentle on the skin too, so it's no wonder they've gone so popular. Propotos and coffee plants do not seem like bait enticing enough to draw Gigimolo's interest. The doll and hairbrush on the other hand may just be tantalizing enough. Report back to Nobly. You returned. I take it you found an item or two of interest. I see. An Oolong bristle hairbrush and one of our traditional dolls. Must admit whether such a doll would truly be desirable to an outsider is a bit dubious. I think it's safest to go with a hairbrush. My thanks for finding a suitable bait. Normally they go for 1 pel in the 10,000 column, but to teach our pernicious peddler a lesson, I'll offer him one for 1 pel in the 100,000 columns. Lest you worry, I won't actually sell it to him. I'm just giving him a taste of his own medicine, so he can come to understand why a fair and honest deal is so important to the Pelopello. More importantly, I wish to convey something to him, merchant to merchant. So what do you say? Will you lend me your aid? Sure. Thank you. Let's give Gigimolo an offer he can't refuse. Springing the trap. All that remains is for me to begin my negotiations with Gigimolo. However, even should I approach him, I expect he wouldn't be willing to bend an ear to anything I have to say. But if you, a fellow Eorzean, were to whisper in his ear of a merchant dealing in exotic wares you won't find anywhere else, I dare say his interest will be piqued. I expect he's still stoking the springs, so try searching for him first at Panakpelu Retreat. I will join you after procuring a suitable store of hairbrushes. Is it even safe for him to be in the water this long? Ah, it's you again. I take it you too are unable to resist the allure of these waters. I see, and you wish to introduce me to this merchant of exotic wares? How thoughtful of you. I'm honestly surprised you remember that I've yet to find suitable goods to take back to Eorzea. Very well, I shall meet this merchant, but I can hardly sit at the negotiating table in little more than a bathing towel. Pray wait for me below while I make myself presentable. In the following sequence, you will be tasked with supporting Nobly's negotiations with Gigimolo. As the negotiations may take several minutes, you may wish to cancel any pending duty-finder registrations. Thank you for waiting. Now, there's this merchant you wish to introduce me to. Nobly! I see the two of you are in cahoots. If you come to return the corrupted crystals, I'm afraid I do not accept refunds. Didn't Desiree tell you I'm here to make you an offer? Make me an offer. I wasn't born yesterday. Whatever it is you're planning, I want nothing to do with it. The Pelopello strive to bring others happiness through trade. Hogwash, you really expect me to believe I could benefit from another deal with him? This is not only for your benefit, but that of the new customers you've certain to meet in future commercial endeavors. Upon my mask, I swear it. You can swear upon whatever you like, I still won't believe you. The only thing I trust less on your word is your meager eye for quality. Any product selected by your hand is one unworthy of my stalls. You won't at least hear him out? No, I will not. The rush fool bought my entire stock of corrupted crystal without a second thought. How could I put any faith in such an utter lack of discernment? But I picked it. You selected it well. Now that changes things. Considering rare worth of experience in both Eorzea and Tural, yours are eyes I can trust. I see we have your attention. Then without further ado, allow me to present you my premium selection of high-quality alpaca hairbrushes. The bristles are firm yet subtle, gentle on the skin and exceedingly pleasant to the touch. The most sensitive alpacas can't get enough of it. Indeed, I dare say these brushes are of unparalleled quality. We already have brushes for livestock in Eorzea. Furthermore, the market for such a commodity would be limited to farmers, all but squandering any chance to profit. I will not purchase a product merely because it is of good quality. What if you could use it on your own hair? I must admit, as a merchant, it is important to always make oneself as personable as possible. Yet, I'm confused as to why you would ask. Ah, so people can use the brush as well. Then, may I try it for myself? If it is a quality product for men and women of good taste, the potential market would expand considerably. Oh my, this is quite lovely. The way the bristles gently caress my scalp, each stroke gliding through my hair like a gentle breeze, and somehow every strand falls perfectly into place. My hair has never felt so soft and smooth. Yes, consider me interested. I dare say these brushes will sell themselves to those with a like-minded taste for elegance. Now let us discuss payment. By my estimation, a single brush would be worth roughly 10,000 pel, give or take. Speaking of worth, I forgot to mention one terribly important detail. That brushes are made from the hair of creatures indigenous to Tural, the Ulon. Specimens are painstakingly chosen for each brush by a master craftsman, paying close attention to the beast's age as well as the texture, thickness and strength of the hair. I'd say a single brush is worth no less than 2 pel in the 100,000 column. I beg your pardon? 200,000 pel for a brush? You must be out of your mind. I shall take my business elsewhere. Wait, after purchasing this corrupted crystal from me, I'm in urgent need of funds. If you agree not to disclose this to anyone else, I'm willing to sell the brushes to you for half that price. You'd go so far as to offer them at half their market price. It certainly comes as no surprise that you lack capital. I may not find a more opportune bargain. Very well, you have yourself a deal. I shall use all the pel I have on hand to purchase as many brushes as you can offer. To think the man I swindled would offer me such a bargain. The Pelu may make for better customers than they do merchants. Now, let us return to my storehouse in Urqopacha to finalize our transaction. I trust that is fine with you, Gigimolu? Indeed. I shall make a short detour to Ikuvlo's inn to gather my things before joining you. Pray excuse me? Oh, the negotiations went rather well, if I do say so myself. I cannot thank you enough for your assistance. But now the negotiations can truly begin. We should hurry back to Vachempelo as well. All that remains is the final exchange. Dear Nobly truly is a generous soul. There you are, Desiree. Now that we're all assembled, let's continue our discussion. What's there to discuss? The deal is already agreed on. All that remains is the exchange of goods. Are you sure? Even if I told you that the actual value of a brush is a single pearl in the 10,000 column? You deceived me? Oh no, nothing of the sort. I merely followed your example. I do personally believe that a single brush is worth 2 pearl in a 100,000 column. I also urgently need funds after purchasing those crystals. But more importantly, the brushes are of unparalleled quality. To think I would be outfoxed by the man I took for a fool. Yet, why tell me its true value now? Had you remained silent, you could have made back all the money you lost. I find that a strange question. Are we not both merchants? Rather than prey on one another, hoping to make our fortunes in a single exchange, would it not be mutually beneficial for us in the long term to become trade partners? As far as I'm concerned, this is a chance I can't afford to let slip away. Foreign merchants willing to sail all the way to Toral are few and far between, and I certainly won't have the wherewithal to travel to Eorzea myself anytime soon. After all I've done, you would ask to be my trade partner? I ply my trade in the city called Uldar, where the unspoken rule of business is to deceive or be deceived. To seize what opportunities you can and quickly move on. Long-term profits have ever been the furthest thing from my mind. When I first saw you, Nobly, I could sense your naivety. Thus did I approach you with a mind to exploit it, and pawned my worthless corrupted crystals into your eager hands. At the time I thought it simple business as usual. And yet, I'm wholly embarrassed by the thought of it now. That you would use the same ploy against me for even greater profit makes it all the more shameful. Nobly, I'm truly sorry for deceiving you. I shall return all the money I took from you and make what amends I can for the trouble I've caused. I do not deserve your forgiveness, let alone your partnership, but if you're certain that is the best course... I am, but forget about the money. I'd like you to bring back more of those corrupted crystals. If I can find some use for them, we'll have a product that can be easily sold for a premium, and we can corner the market here in Toral. I'm happy to oblige, but until such a time that the crystals become profitable here, I could not proceed in good conscience without a product we can both benefit from. If it please you, I'd like to explore our options. I couldn't have convinced Gigimolo without your help, Desiree. Together I believe he and I can bring others happiness through trade in not only Toral but Eorzea and beyond. I prepared a small gift for you to show my thanks. Though it's hardly enough, I hope this is of some benefit to you during your travels. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to find me. Good. And with that, those two have become trading partners somehow. Alright, and I end this episode here. Until next time, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.